What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show vlog. This is episode number 5, and this one we are actually doing something that was requested, and let me just grab that request sheet right here. And this was requested by Damon Horak and Philippe Danelius. So forgive me if I butchered those at all, you guys, but basically these two gentlemen or ladies, oh boy, here we go, I'm digging myself deep. These two viewers and commenters asked us to show you guys what the studio looks like, give you guys a bit of a studio tour / home tour. I don't know how you guys could tell that we filmed the show in my home, but thought it was really clever about that. But here we go. So I'm going to show you guys just exactly where and how we film and kind of all the horror stuff that's just sort of laying around my place. So here we go. Woo! All right, so here we are, and the lighting is dramatically different, so hopefully the camera adjusted, but this is the first stop in the studio tour, and of course, this is going to be the set that you guys have seen a number of times, as well as a couple of faces that you've seen. This is Kane, as everyone knows, a recent addition to the show, and already proving to be invaluable in many ways. So we have the nice, lovely background that was put together by producer Dave, an ex-employee of bookstores and malls, so he knows how to set this up. But this is what we use for our comic reviews, which I normally do with none other than Mr. Jaime Fuego.
You've also seen this on Infuegotainment because lots of our comic book review films have been in this backdrop, so
Plug.
I'm sorry, you allowed me to on the most recent
I know,
so
I know.
You're on there too.
I'm just having fun. And right in front of it is our podcasting studio. This is where we put together our podcasts on a weekly basis. Of course, sometimes we do go ahead and film or record a couple of podcasts at a time to get ahead if we can, but usually it's basically on a weekly basis.
It's always good to get ahead.
We have plans to do one tonight, and we will get it done, but this is our lovely mixing board, which of course Kane discovered doesn't do exactly what we wanted it to do. It's about half functional, right?
It does what we need it to, not what we want it to.
That's fair. And of course I've got a 3-mic set from Amazon, along with a bunch of mic stands and P-pop filters. And then later I added 2 additional microphones that don't have on-off switches. They need phantom power in order to operate. But
that sounds spooky.
When you combine that with everything we've got, I've got the 2 wireless lavalier microphones, one of which I'm wearing right there. And we can plug those in. And honestly, when we use that plus the Zoom, and if we get 2 people on either side of the Zoom, we can have up to 9 separate people on the podcast at a time with an individual microphone. So
well, we have a growing family. So.
Exactly. So that's pretty cool. So with all that, one more look at this area, and we are moving on. Here we go. Woo! All right, and the next stop on our tour is over here. I have basically a couple of scattered shelving units and artwork on the walls that all pertain to horror and the horror show. This next shelving unit, where we'll find another lovely member of the show, is a display case of sorts for the coolest things that we've done as a horror show, as well as some really cool art that we've received as a horror show. So here we go, and Marcia Parker! Welcome to the vlog. So here we go with this particular shelving unit. We start off on the top, which has basically all of my Twisty the Clown accoutrement, except for the actual costume, which for some reason, you guys, if you're curious, the #1 performing video on our entire channel is Twisty the Clown at Phoenix Comic-Con Fan Fest 2015. Makes absolutely 0 sense, but it just crossed 50,000 views just yesterday. So I don't know why, but people like when I dressed up as Twisty. So that's what this stuff is. I'm keeping it. Obviously, I can bust it out if I ever really want to. And then on top of those, we have the 2 horns, which go on top of the chair for the devil in the Hell News Network. And then shelf 2 is our sweet shelf. Of course, we have hand #1 and hand #2 from Skinner Sweet's transformation, as well as Skinner's face from our sweet short film. If you haven't watched it yet, I'll link to it at the end. And it is basically a short film that is inspired by the American Vampire comic book, written by Scott Snyder, drawn by Raphael Albuquerque, and also co-written by the king himself, Stephen King. So check that out. These are some of our props. Of course, you'll hear Fuego yelling that out whenever I mention the king. But here we go. And shelf number 3 is, Marcia, why don't you step back a little bit so you'll allow some light? Actually, come this way. Now, this is some artwork that was provided to us. This really cool Sugar Skull, Day of the Dead sort of thing. We're going to be doing an artist spotlight for that artist, so stay tuned for that. You'll see exactly who that came from very soon. And then we've got a couple of pieces of art that we got from the BAM box, I believe. It's Exorcist signed by Linda Blair right there. That's really cool. And of course, we have the Freddy vs. Jason artwork that's signed by the artist as well. That's really cool. And then just a couple of pumpkins behind that we've used on the show before. And then finally, the bottom shelf is pretty tame. It's skeleton hands, it's murder, it's skeleton gloves, it's murder gloves. And then it's our Kiss comic book that we got from the BAM box as well. So that is going to be this shelf. And next, let's move on to the next one. Woo! All right, so this next shelf is going to have just a couple of things of mine mixed in with some horror show stuff. This first piece, the first shelf rather, is some of my old dragon figurines. I've loved dragons for a very long time myself, so they always adorn my shelves and my artwork in some way, shape, or form. So that's that. Shelf number 2 is some gothic candle holders and a dragon candle holder. And then of course the gas mask that was made in our How to Make a Steampunk Gas Mask with none other than Mike Seifert. So that's where I keep that gas mask right there so we can bust it out whenever we need it. And then this shelf, we have some past set dress. We've got basically all these things adorn Satan's desk in the Hell News Network, along with that the horns on the chair. This is, a crazy red ball that Fuego also used as the stand-in for the Phantasm ball in our first Great Horror Debate episode. The crow actually was used in the most recent review that was just uploaded by Marcia Parker. We did a review of the John Cusack The Raven movie, so we used that as a prop in that as well. And then, of course, the barbed wire was used to adorn the desk a few times over the course of the channel, so that we keep that as well. And finally, yet another prop from Mike Seifert. This is the saw that we did, how to make a prop saw how-to. So we keep that because it's amazing and it's always worth checking out. And again, frankly, we'll probably use it on a killer's table sometime in the future because it looks just that good. So one more look at that bad boy. Next, we have a bit of the artwork that's over here next to this shelf. I'm going to show you all of it, even though only about half of it is horror related. The first of which are 2 photo ops that I got to do with the lovely Marcia Parker at Phoenix Comic Con 2016. We got to take some cool pictures, and the first of which is right here. That is all of us, Marcia, myself, both dressed as Negans, and Susie Von Slaughter, standing with James Marsters, otherwise known as Spike, otherwise known as Brainiac, otherwise known as any number of things throughout his career. And then above that, Lucifer himself from Supernatural. Again, Marcia and I dressed as Negans because we were debuting our cosplays at this con. So we had our Lucille's and
Like my bat.
he basically, when we walked in, it was really cool. We walked in and he was like, he saw one of us, he was like, oh, Negan. And then he saw Marcia, he was like, 2 Negans. Like, it was pretty funny, and he appreciated the cosplay, so that was really nice. And then we get into some of the prints that I get at the various cons that we cover. It's kind of a problem. We go to all these cons and we can't help but buy stuff when we go because there's so much cool artwork. I'm looking at Fuego as I do this. That's why I'm looking off camera, because he and I both fall into this trap. First off, we've got one of the pieces that we got from Cole Peterson, who is a tremendous artist. It's right here. It's this Hellboy Jr. piece. Forgive the angles I'm showing them to you guys at, but I've got a lot of glare that I'm combating here, so I'm just gonna have to do my best. But All right, let me try this way. So this is the Hellboy Jr. piece. And then above that, of course, I've got my cosplay namesake, Twisty the Clown. And you can see beside that, I've got a Kiss spoof poster, Kill, with Jason, Leatherface, Michael Myers, and Freddy, of course, naturally. I don't know why it spaced on me for a second there. And then outside of that, I have artwork of my favorite show from Jerry Pesci. Jerry has done a bunch of really cool artwork, but specifically he did this, which if you're a Rick and Morty fan, you'll know how awesome this is. This is a Peace Among Worlds, and he even included Mr. Poopy Butthole, who was not in that episode right there. Then we have the Army of Meeseeks poster, also from Jerry Pesci, and Get Swifty poster from Jerry Pesci. So Jerry Pesci is amazing. If you guys haven't checked out, go to pesheffects.com, I believe is his site, or just Google search Pesh Effects, Pesceffects. It's very worth checking out, and he's got some awesome horror mashup things, a lot of Muppet horror mashups, so you can get some Muppets as Hellraiser, some Muppets as Freddy, or some Muppets as a whole bunch of different things. Phantasm, there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff. So check out Pesh Effects if you can. And the last bit of artwork that's over here is, of course, our big Why So Serious poster from Big Chris. You can get this in any Spencer Gifts that you see at the mall. Or I'm sorry, I said Why So Serious, but it's actually Why So Genius. Considering it's Joker Albert Einstein, it's pretty freaking cool. So next I've got the next shelving unit that actually sits next to my computer where I do a lot of my editing. Right here, you've seen that in the past, actually our very first vlog episode, but these shelving units are just sort of where I keep some extra horror stuff. The Nintendo is just nostalgic. And then I've got some skeletons and some fossils. Of course, I've got some shark jaws back there, as much as I love sharks. We've got a giant Freddy figure and all of these figures. We've got another Freddy and Jason and a bunch of small figures. Jason refuses to stand up straight, but big shout out to Jesse Torres, who originally donated these for show purposes, and he's let us hang on to them ever since. And of course, we've got Scare Bear and a signed photo from Derek Mears for us for the horror show. It's really cool. And of course, we have Tonia, Sweetpea Hackett's Zombie Baby Abigail, as well as the Chrome Skull knife and the very thing that we wrap around our microphones when we're interviewing people at conventions. So that is this shelf right next to my computer. Next, we're gonna get the last bit of artwork that's sitting out here. Actually, no, there's two little bits of artwork left, but this one is a collection of artwork. First, I've got some really cool 3D posters, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Jaws 3D, and Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D, and I've got some glasses, so if people ever want to check them out, they can see what they look like in 3D. And then I've got some additional Big Chris pieces, starring some local cosplayers dressing as Freddy and Jason. Big Chris Captain Spaulding right here, and then Big Chris Leatherface. I'm a big fan of Big Chris because he's been a big supporter of the show and he's been on it a number of times, and we really like Big Chris here. So going along with that, we have a Big Chris Alien, Big Chris Predator, and then a separate Twilight Zone, not from Big Chris, but just a good print that I got at a con. And then finally we have Isaac Bell's prints that we gave away as a raffle prize at Scarefest in 2015. So we kept one for ourselves to make sure we could have to display. Finally, for artwork, I've got the artwork nearest to the front door, which basically is right here. I've got other Cole Peterson art, Zombie Link and Pumpkinhead. And then I've got a Smitty Tut design of the Creature from the Black Lagoon, which I thought was amazing. And I've got a signed by Sid Haig, Last Supper of the Horror Icons, which is really, really cool. I'll try and make sure it can focus, but you've got Sam, Bagul, Chucky, the Firefly Clan, Victor Crowley, obviously Captain Spaulding, Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, Pinhead, and Michael Myers, Spike, and you've got Billy the Puppet from Saw, Blade from Puppet Masters, and you've got the Gremlin, I think it's Stripe. So there you go. That's the all-together Last Supper. And then I've got a Weeping Angel from Doctor Who because that was very horrific. And finally over here we've got a Sweet poster and then a poster of Iris, which is a short film that Cecil, acted in, as well as helped edit along with producer Dave. But there's our alternate Andy Warhol Sweet poster. So finally I'm going to show you what the studio looks like. All right, and then of course we have the studio that you guys all know and love, which is our main operating stage, as it were, which if you guys, I'll show you actually what's behind the camera, but first, this is what you normally see. You'll see us behind the table, and you'll see all of these things. So let me get you a good look at each of these pieces of art. So first I've got Candyman here, and you'll have to forgive me again, guys, I can't remember every artist that we've spoken to in the last 3 years that we've gotten these from, but
A massive amount.
this is the Chucky piece that you guys have seen in the background. And then of course we have the Mount Rushmore of horror right there. I opted for the one with Leatherface instead of Pinhead. And then we've got right here, we've got a Jason that just kind of hangs out right here, and another Jason that hangs out up top. We sub him in with Freddy sometimes. And then we've got our skull and our Lament configuration Rubik's Cube, and of course our little biter from Germ Spider Designs. We've got our Jason mask right here, our Coexist shirt, and then our prop pitchfork from our Hell News Network. We kept a lot of the props from the Hell News Network because we do want to bring that back, and you guys will see Fuego here as the devil delivering news once again. But
That is freaking cool.
Imagine
Yeah.
you and I together doing Hell News Network, like the Devil and Cecil.
that'd be pretty fun. We could
There's
try
nobody
that.
else on the other side of your shoulders.
Then we have our Jason Machete and our awesome Tom Deadstuff created horror show full-on sign.
Love
This
Tom
is a
Deadstuff,
3D
man.
sign. So you've got each of these zombies.
One of the coolest things we have ever had built for
This-
us. I mean, holy smokes, I'm
The
still
sign that
astounded by it.
started it all.
Yeah, frankly, this was the earliest sign that we had for the show, so we took it everywhere with us, and we would just hang it up on a C-stand provided by Steve Orgo and SWAT HD.
Yeah.
And it would be a great representation of what we stood for. So thank you very much to Tom Deadstuff, and if you guys are interested, check him out, Tom Deadstuff on Facebook and Etsy.
This stuff is incredible, man. Holy smokes, so
Yeah.
detailed.
And then, of course, behind that, we've got our Chrome Skull mask and Horrific Harry, who adorns most episodes. And not only that, but he's actually going to be able to have a shirt with him on it. We're going to add him to the store. We have a nice high-resolution picture of him, so you'll be able to wear him on your chest very soon. So keep your eyes out for that.
Awesome.
And then we've got our lovely Jeff West created Graboid from Tremors. We actually commissioned this piece. Pretty awesome. And then, of course, Jeremy sent us what's called a meat slab, which is just a really cool wall hanging thing that's just gross flesh with an eyeball and teeth and mouth. Of course, our Ash vs. Evil Dead chainsaw. And then a piece of artwork all about my favorite horror movie, Jaws, or one of my favorite horror movies.
Right there with you,
Our
man.
Sweet poster, and then finally another piece from Cole Peterson of Sam.
Sweet, which is officially part of the iHorror finalists of the 2017 year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is the up close and personal of what's behind us. Now, if you're interested to see what's actually behind the camera during these things, let me show you that. It's a bit of a mess though, fair warning.
Don't do
So-
it, don't do it, don't do it.
Ah.
This is what it looks like.
This is the filming room.
Yeah, it's
a
a
lot
bit
bigger
cramped.
than it looks.
Yeah, it's a bit cramped, but it's crazy. We all fit in here, and all this stuff that's off camera, you never see, but it's all here. I've got, so you can see I've got my Twisty costume. I've got Zed's costume is back there. We've even got the Boogeyman costume way back at the back there. So We have a lot of cool stuff. We have the Creepsville 666 dress that we still need to employ more.
Love those guys.
Yep.
Sorry, I gotta lose some weight. I got it.
And then this is the tripod we usually film on, and the lighting units. There's one, and here's the other, like you just saw. And
Really compelling stuff, guys.
yeah, it's super interesting. But hey, you guys wanted to see it, so you guys are seeing it. So, you know, let me just sit down, and we'll, because
to do a review.
we're about to start filming. So that's, I think, going to do it for this episode of the Horror Show vlog. I'm really hoping all of us are in frame right now. But thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Grassy Sub and Jaime Fuego.
I'm Marcia Fuego.
I hope you enjoyed the tour, and remember, stay scared.
Parker.